Hey, Tom here from the Run Testers with a running shoe versus that's a little bit different than the normal ones that we do. In this video, we're going to be looking at 3 shoes from one brand. So that's the Saucony Triumph 20, Saucony Tempus, and the Saucony Endorphin Shift 3. So let's have a look and see how these 3 cushion shoes compare. The Saucony Triumph 20 costs £155 or $160. It weighs in at 264 grams or 9.3 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 10mm. The Saucony Tempus costs £165 or $160, weighs in at 263 grams or 9.3 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 8mm. The Saucony Endorphin Shift 3 costs £140 or $150, weighs 268 grams or 9.5 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 4mm. The Saucony Triumph line is one of the most popular for runners that want a high level of cushioning for easy sessions, long runs and daily training miles. The Triumph 20 sees some upgrades to its predecessors with a modified Power Run Plus midsole foam to make the ride lighter and softer, along with a new geometry that sees an increased rocker and a smoother transition. In addition, there are changes to the lacing system and the upper material. Other design features include a Power Run Plus sock liner for comfort, a heel counter for better stability, and a healthy covering of outsole rubber for grip and protection. The Saucony Tempus is a shoe that aims to balance performance features with stability elements, giving runners that want a supportive ride the versatility to train comfortably across different sessions. That support comes from the combination of a contoured Power Run frame and a deeper midsole design to hold the foot in place with a plush fit, along with a supportive midsole geometry and base. The Power Run PB midsole, Saucony's soft and bouncy cushioning, works alongside the supportive design elements to deliver energy return and bounce without sacrificing control, while the Form Fit upper gives a personalised fit across the length of the shoe. Other features include an XT900 outsole for grip and durability, a breathable mesh upper, and an adaptive lacing design. The Saucony Endorphin Shift 3 is part of the brand's Endorphin range, offering a high cushion training partner to the Speed 3 and the Pro 3. It features a large stack of Power Run foam in the midsole for comfort that works alongside a streamlined heel clip to support the foot and add a gentle level of stability. Saucony's Speed Roll design aims to help with a fluid transition, while a Form Fit upper holds the foot in place. There's also a torsional heel groove to improve transition, a lightweight breathable mesh upper, and an XT900 outsole to aid grip and durability. Okay, so Nick, triple versus. We're going to delve into fit. We've got 3 Saucony shoes here. How are the fits in all 3 of these shoes for you?
This could take a long time, but luckily it's very easy, Tom. They all fit me really nicely, true to size. No concerns. I don't need to go into any more detail.
Yeah, so true to size for me, no issues. I suppose the only thing is, I think the Tempus and the Shift fit very similarly. I think the Triumph just has a little bit of extra space, but I'd still go true to size in all of them. Okay, so the run test, Nick. We've got 3 shoes. Just go for it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Should I throw back to you after each shoe, or should I do all 3 at once?
Let's go in order.
Okay.
Let's try and stick to an order. I've got my shoes in an order in front of me now, so at least I can remember which ones are.
Yeah.
Let's start with the Triumph, the big one that most people know about.
We can do the order we take. We had the Triumph first, so let's start with the Triumph.
Yep.
Triumph was a really, really good shoe, I'd say. I think they definitely improved the ride of it with the latest version of the shoe. Triumph was a shoe I used to absolutely adore back when I started running, and it was like the Triumph ISO 2. The line went like 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back to 17 because of the way it madness at Saucony. But the latest version I think is the best in several years in that it's really comfortable, but I think it's got a much more kind of responsive ride than previous versions. It's a bit more versatile. So when I first used a Triumph, it was a cushion shoe, obviously a cruiser shoe designed mainly for daily training, easy runs. But I liked using it for long races, and it had a bit of pop to it. And it kind of lost that, I think, in the last couple of versions. But it's back with the Triumph 20. It's a very good all-round shoe. Rides really well for a variety of runs. Great outsole, grips well, long-lasting, feels good. Still not, all-out versatile. It's not an all-rounder shoe by any means, but it's really comfortable, and you can do a fair bit of different training in it, I think. How about you, Tom? You like the shoe a lot.
Yeah, I love the Triumph. I actually, the last 2 versions I really liked. I didn't have any issues with them. But last year, my favourite shoe, or it kind of still is the New Balance More V3. But if I was to pick a cushion shoe that's been released this year that I really like is the Triumph. It's probably my favourite cushion shoe this year. I think the thing about the Triumph is over other cushion shoes is that you do get it's comfortable, it's cushioned, it's great for cruising, but I think it just has a little bit more to it. It's got a nice little tiny bit of pop in it, and it just makes cruising at a nice consistent pace really enjoyable. I did quite a few marathon runs, training runs in this, and just loved it. Just had no issues with it at all, and I think it's by far the best Triumph so far.
It's a good shoe. I think the ride of the Triumph is probably, of these three shoes, the most kind of classic, the most traditional ride. It's got a bit of a rocker, but it's not a hyper aggressive rocker like on the Shift. It's got a bit of squish, bit of bounce, but it's not very soft and springy like some shoes these days. It's the most kind of classic shoe, but it has got some nice modern features, like the foam is a bit better than previous versions, a bit more springy and less kind of flat than I thought the previous Triumphs were. So I think it is a nice balance of a very traditional shoe with some modern touches, which is actually true of the Tempus as well. I think it's fair to say it's a stability shoe, but it's by no means a traditional stability shoe. It's got this frame of foam surrounding what is Power Run PB in the midsole, which is the soft serene foam we adore on things like the Endorphin Pro 3. I think you like the Endorphin Pro 3, Tom, and the Endorphin Speed 3. This I think is probably the most interesting shoe of the three, and it came a bit out of nowhere as far as I could tell, and it's just the lightest of the three. It's the most versatile of the three for me. It's got the softest, bounciest ride, whilst also being a stability shoe, so you're getting that extra protection on the run, keeping you on the straight and narrow. So I'm a big fan of this shoe, and I think it surprised us both really in how it performed, right? Yeah,
big time. Whenever we get stability shoes in, there's sort of a part of me that goes, okay, I know I'm going to get here. It's I'm really just testing whether it does the job. But I was doing a lot of marathon training at the point where we got hold of these, and I took it out for a run, and I really enjoyed it. I was really surprised. It wasn't a major interval session, but I was running faster than I would ever normally do in a cushion shoe or a stability shoe, and I just enjoyed it. I think it did a really good job, and I continued to use it for quite a few runs. I think the thing about the Tempus is that it doesn't feel like a stability shoe unless you're sort of trying to feel that it's a stability shoe. So if you're running in it and you're thinking you've got the fact that it's a stability shoe in mind, you can feel a nice level of stability in it. But I don't think about it if that's not the case, and I think it just delivers like a really nice cushion shoe, and that Power Run PB midsole foam is just fantastic in it as well. I think it's one of the breakout shoes of this year, and I think it's a great. You've got these sort of new version of stability shoes that has been cropping up a little bit more these days, where it's got stability, but it's not a traditional stability shoe. It gives you more than that, and I think it's great for doing that.
Yeah, I almost think it's almost more of a daily trainer. It is so versatile. I really liked using it at the back end of marathon training as well. Legs are a bit tired. I do lots and lots of kind of progression runs in the week where they're just base training runs, but I won't stay very easy throughout the run. As I warm up, I'll just increase the pace and finish not far off, around tempo pace maybe for a couple of K. And this shoe is just perfect for that because it is so comfortable early on, protects the legs when you're tired, and then it has got a bit more life in it towards the end. So I think it's probably the most versatile of the three shoes we're talking about here, and the most enjoyable for me. It is a stability shoe, and that's got its benefits as well, but it doesn't feel like that, which means any runner can use and enjoy it, I think. So yeah, really fantastic shoe. What about the Shift, Tom? What do you think of the Shift?
Good question. Let me just find it. I've got a lot of shoes down here. The Shift. So the Shift is an interesting one. I tested out the Endorphin Shift 2 last year, and it was fine. It just felt very clunky. It was just there's a lot to the shoe. It just felt quite hefty, and it didn't feel like it could do a lot really. It was fine. But I've really been enjoying running in the Shift 3. I think it's like the other shoes. There's clearly been a lot of updates in this. I'm not entirely sure what they all are, but I think the bulk of it is that foam that sits in it. And I think it's become a significantly better shoe than in the Shift 2. I think it's quite a stable shoe. It's a bit more solid than the Tempus and the Triumph, but it feels like you can do a bit more in this shoe. And I've been enjoying running in this one. I wouldn't go fast in this shoe. I don't think it's like the most versatile shoe in the world, but it's a comfortable, stable, shoe for easy runs and just doing lots of mileage, I think.
Yeah, I find it quite interesting. Like, I think if I presented these 3 shoes to me on paper before I started testing them, I'd have thought I'd like the Shift the most of them, and I think I probably ended up liking the least of the 3 of them. The speed update has got a much lighter midsole foam than before, so it brings it down quite a lot in weight, despite the vast stack you're getting here, and it's got that rocker in it, which I really like on the Speed and the Pro. And the first couple of runs it was fine, I just like ticking over. But at the end of the day, I haven't really loved the ride of it. I find it very dull, the ride, and a bit firm actually at times, and not in a harsh way, but it's just not very fun. And I've done it for lots of easy runs, and even then I haven't loved it. And then when I have started to progress the pace slightly on those progression runs I was talking about with the Tempus, it just feels a bit unwieldy. Like, it's not slow and it's quite light, but it is so big, and sometimes you just don't get into the perfect sync with that rocker, and it just becomes a little bit annoying, I find, to run in. It's a shame, because I think it's a nice shoe, and it's obviously designed to partner the Speed and the Pro so perfectly, and it does cover off what the other uses of shoes in that lineup. The Speed is your fast trainer, your all-rounder, and the Pro is your racer, and this does the easy runs very well, and it protects the body really well. But I also think that's true of the Triumph and the Tempus. They protect the body really well, they do the easy runs well, and I think the rides just are more enjoyable on them. I did find this a bit lifeless, and when there's 2 other such good shoes, like, this does a good job, but I just think we're talking about these 3 shoes in one range. I think the others probably do the same job, just a little bit more enjoyably for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's the difficulty with the Shift in that I would class this as a stability shoe.
Yeah.
And the Tempus is also classed as a stability shoe, but they're not the same sort of shoe. I think the Tempus should be in an endorphin range. I think it works much better with the Speed and the Pro, because it sort of just lends itself quite nicely to that progression, whereas the Shift almost doesn't fit into the endorphin range because it's so far removed from the Speed 3 that I don't think you'd ever need this shoe with the Speed 3. But I do think it's a solid shoe. I've not had any problems with it. It's just, I definitely, there's nothing that's wowed me about it. I just think it's fine, but a definite improvement on the previous.
Yeah, like I said, I only used the Endorphin Shift 1. I think the 2 was very similar to the 1, and I found that, similar to this, a bit lifeless, but a bit heavier and even more kind of blocky. So it has been improved, and this looks amazing. I think this is the Visipro version, which has these really great laces, speckled laces. But other than looks, I don't think it beats the other 2 shoes in anything.
Okay, so 3-way verdict. Nick. This is going to be a tough one. You're probably going to have to delve in a little bit deeper here, because it's not really fair to compare these in every way. What shoe are you going to pick as your easy day shoe, your long distance comfort shoe?
I would pick the Tempus myself. I think it's the most enjoyable ride. I like the fact it's got added stability. I think it's got that extra bounce from the Power Run PB foam, and it does give you a bit more versatility. Like, it does those long, easy runs really well, but you can also use it for lots of daily training and speed up a bit in it quite comfortably. And I'd say if I was ranking them, this would be number 1, then Triumph would certainly be number 2. I think this is a really solid shoe. I think a lot of people probably might end up preferring it because it's got a slightly more traditional ride and just a really reliable feel to it. It's just, it's an excellent shoe, classic shoe, done really well with a little bit more life in the midsole now. Good outsole, nothing wrong with it at all. I think it's a really solid shoe. Just find it slightly less versatile on the Tempus, and I enjoy the ride of the Tempus a bit more on tired legs. And the Shift, I wouldn't pick from this range. Basically, I think there's a good case for either of these 2, but I think the Shift is a similar shoe, just not quite as good. I mean, it's very stable. It's more stable than the Triumph, and the fact it's so smooth and dull really is obviously protecting your body from the impact of the road, but I certainly think the Triumph and the Tempus are doing that as well, and you're just getting a bit more fun on the run. So yeah, that's how I'd go. Tempus 1, Triumph 2, Shift 3. Tom?
Interesting. So I'm going for Triumph number 1.
Okay.
Now, I think the Tempus is by far the most interesting shoe out of this range. I think there's more to it. But when it comes to easy day runs and cruising and ticking off the miles, I still prefer the Triumph. I just think I like the foam a little bit more. I don't need the stability, and I just find the Triumph 20 to be a more comfortable cruising shoe when I'm doing lots of mileage. But it's not a lot in it. I still think the Tempus is a fantastic shoe, and in many ways I think it's a better shoe than the Triumph 20. But when it comes to easy days and long runs, I'm still going to pick the Triumph 20 over the Tempus. And like you, the Shift 3 is it's not really on my radar. I wouldn't. It's fine, but I wouldn't pick it up. I wouldn't suggest it to anyone. I can't think of a reason why I'd ever pick it over the Tempus.
Yeah, agree on that. Yeah, I think Saucony's got 3 great shoes there. Maybe next year they only need to make 2 of them, but there'll be some brand line loyalty, and they'll keep making all 3, I'm sure.
Well, I was actually surprised you mentioned that. I thought the Tempus would almost replace the Shift 3 when we first tested it, because there wasn't really the Shift 2 when it was released didn't really get a lot of attention. At the Speed 2 was getting so much attention at the time. The Shift 2 seemed to sort of disappear, but the Tempus sort of came out of nowhere, and I thought, this might be the new way they're going. But no, there's Shift 3, so it'd be interesting to see what they do next year.
Yeah, so I think they almost positioned Tempus really as a stability shoe and not really considered it with the other lines, but actually it's so much more versatile and capable of so many jobs. It does really slip into other lines quite well, I think.
Cool. That's it from us. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click that little bell icon, and check the channel out for loads of different videos, from road and trail shoes to watches, headphones and accessories and other bits and pieces that we've been testing over the past few months. And also, if you go into the caption below, you can find a link to the monthly Run Testers podcast. If you're listening to this in November, the next podcast will be the big Run Tester Awards. So make sure you follow us on the podcast provider of your choice, so that you know when that comes out. And if you like it, please leave us a rating or a review, and we would be very, very pleased. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.